The courtroom went silent when the judge read the lawsuit amount. $847,000. That's exactly half of my lottery winnings. The worst part wasn't that my ex-roommates were trying to take my money. It was that they'd brought a 38-page legal document claiming they were entitled to it. And for one terrible moment, watching the judge's expression, I thought they might actually win. 3 months earlier, I was living in apartment 4B with 2 roommates I'd found on a housing app. Brianne worked in marketing. Whitney was finishing her MBA. We weren't exactly friends, but we weren't enemies either. We split groceries, rotated cleaning duties, and mostly stayed out of each other's way. I had this small ritual every Friday. After my shift at the hospital, I'm a pediatric nurse, I'd stop at the corner store and buy 2 lottery tickets. $5, the same numbers my grandmother used to play, based on family birthdays. Brianne knew about it. She'd seen the tickets on the kitchen counter a dozen times. Once she even joked, "When you win, don't forget us little people." I laughed. If I win, drinks are on me. That conversation would later appear, word for word, in paragraph 14 of their lawsuit. The Friday it happened, I was scanning my tickets on the store's self-checker. First ticket, nothing. Second ticket, the machine froze. Then it made this sound like a digital alarm, and the screen flashed, "Major winner, see retailer." My hands were shaking so badly I could barely walk to the counter. The clerk, Mrs. Patel, checked it 3 times. Her eyes went wide. "Honey," she whispered, "you just won $1.7 million." I didn't tell anyone right away. The Lottery Commission advised waiting, getting legal advice, and making a plan. I took 2 weeks off work, claiming a family emergency. I met with a financial advisor, set up accounts, and consulted a lawyer. Smart moves, careful moves. But I made one mistake. I told my roommates. I came home on a Tuesday evening, still floating, and found them both in the living room. The words just tumbled out. "Remember those lottery tickets? I won. Actually won. After taxes, about $1.7 million. Brianne screamed. Whitney hugged me. We opened a bottle of wine. Expensive stuff Whitney had been saving. For 3 hours, we celebrated. We made ridiculous plans. Trips to Bali, quitting terrible jobs, paying off student loans. At 11:23 p.m., I remember because I checked my phone, Brianne said something that made my stomach drop. "So, when we divide it 3 ways, that's like $560,000 each, right?" The room temperature seemed to plummet. "Divide it?" I said carefully. Whitney nodded, her expression suddenly serious. "We're roommates. We share everything. Rent, groceries, utilities. This isn't any different." "But it's my lottery ticket, my money, my numbers." Brianne leaned forward. "You said drinks are on me when I win. You acknowledged we were part of this." "That was a joke, a hypothetical." "Was it?" Whitney pulled out her phone. "Because I have witnesses. Remember when Ava visited last month? You said right in front of her that you play lottery numbers for all of us. Our building, our apartment number, 4B, that's the last 2 digits of your lucky combination." My throat tightened. "Those are my grandmother's numbers." "And apartment 4B, where we all live, together." I moved out 3 days later. Found a hotel, then a sublet. I stopped answering their calls. My lawyer sent a formal letter stating the lottery winnings were mine alone, purchased with my money, on my time, with my chosen numbers. Their response arrived by certified mail. A lawsuit. Not a threat, not a request. A full legal action filed in civil court claiming implied partnership, verbal contract, and unjust enrichment. They'd hired Bailey and Associates, a law firm that specialized in financial disputes. The kind of lawyers you hire when you're serious. According to their complaint, 1. We had an informal but legally binding agreement to share windfall financial gains. 2. I had made repeated verbal acknowledgments of this arrangement. 3. The lottery tickets were purchased with household shared resources. They claimed our split grocery fund meant all purchases were communal. 4. Apartment 4B's number sequence in my lottery combination proved communal intent. They included witness statements. Ava, Brianne's friend, claimed I'd said we played together. The corner store clerk, they'd actually deposed Mrs. Patel, confirmed I'd mentioned roommates. They had screenshots of texts where I'd joked about when we're rich. My lawyer, Geneva, was a sharp woman in her 50s who'd handled contract disputes for 20 years. She read the lawsuit twice, then looked at me over her reading glasses. "It's creative," she admitted. "Completely without merit, but creative." Can they win? No, but they can make this expensive and miserable. She flipped through pages. They're asking for a jury trial. That means discovery, depositions, expert witnesses. Even when we win, you'll spend tens of thousands in legal fees. So, what do we do? Geneva smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. We document everything. Every purchase, every conversation, every shred of evidence that these were your tickets, your money, your choice. And then we bury them. The deposition was scheduled for 9 a.m. on a Thursday, in a glass conference room that smelled like industrial coffee and desperation. Brianne and Whitney sat across from me with their lawyer, a thin man named Mr. Hastings, who wore a suit that cost more than my monthly rent used to. He started soft. "You purchased 2 lottery tickets every Friday, correct?" "Yes." "From the same store?" "Yes." "And you lived with Ms. Brianne and Ms. Whitney during this time?" "Yes." "Would you say you had a close relationship?" Geneva interrupted. "Relevance?" Mr. Hastings smiled. "Establishing the nature of their domestic partnership." "Roommate arrangement," Geneva corrected. "Not a partnership." But he kept going. Question after question, twisting innocent details. Did we share meals? Sometimes. Did we discuss finances? Rent and utilities. Have I ever borrowed money from them? Once. $20 for parking. Then he pulled out a photograph. Our apartment living room. In the background, barely visible on the kitchen counter, were 2 lottery tickets. "These tickets," he said, "were purchased with a shared grocery fund, were they not?" "No, I paid separately." The store receipt shows a single transaction, $47.32, groceries and lottery tickets. This was charged to the communal grocery account you shared with my clients. My heart was hammered. I didn't remember. Had I bundled the purchase? Had I accidentally used the shared grocery money? Geneva's voice cut through. "Receipt, please." Mr. Hastings slid it across. Geneva studied it for 15 seconds. "This receipt is from February 18th. The winning ticket was purchased April 7th. Different receipts, different purchases, different money." His face tightened. "We have multiple instances. Show me one." He couldn't. But here's what Geneva did next that changed everything. She hired a forensic accountant. Boring, expensive, absolutely brilliant. This woman, Nina, went through every bank statement, every transaction, every penny spent in that apartment for the entire year I lived there. What she found? I had purchased lottery tickets 47 times. Every single time, separate transaction, separate receipt, from my personal checking account. The grocery fund I shared with Brianne and Whitney? I had contributed $240 more than my share over 12 months. The apartment number, 4B, in my lottery combination? My grandmother had lived in apartment 4B in Queens 30 years ago. We had photos, lease documents, her handwritten lottery number notes in a journal from 1994. The verbal agreement Brianne claimed? Geneva found my journal entry from that night. B joked about me sharing winnings. I laughed it off, obviously not serious. Geneva also did something sneaky. She requested their phone records through Discovery. Completely legal, completely devastating. 3 days after I told them about the lottery win, there were 17 calls between Brianne and Whitney and 4 different lawyers. They'd planned this, not in the heat of the moment, but methodically, deliberately, searching for someone who'd take their case. One text message from Whitney to Brianne. Found a lawyer who says we have a shot. Verbal contracts are enforceable. We just need to make the story consistent. The trial lasted 3 days. Judge Morrison, a gray-haired woman with the tired eyes of someone who'd seen every scam imaginable, presided. Mr. Hastings presented their case first. He called Ava, who testified I'd said, "We play together." Under Geneva's cross-examination, Ava admitted she'd heard me say, "I play for us all," meaning my family, not my roommates. She'd misunderstood. He called Mrs. Patel. She confirmed I'd mentioned roommates. Geneva asked, "Did Ms. ever say the roommates contributed money to the tickets?" No. Did she ever purchase tickets with anyone else present? No, always alone. Did she ever indicate the tickets were anything other than her personal purchase? No. She plays the same numbers every week, very personal to her. On day 2, Geneva presented our evidence. The forensic accountant's report, projected on a screen. 47 separate lottery purchases, 47 separate receipts, 0 overlap with household funds. My grandmother's journal, pages yellowed, her handwriting shaky. Apartment 4B, Queens. My lucky numbers, 04, 13, 28, 41, 42. The text messages between Brianne and Whitney, planning their lawsuit. Judge Morrison's expression shifted from neutral to cold. On day 3, Geneva called me to the stand. Did you ever agree to share lottery winnings with your roommates? No. Did you ever purchase tickets with their money? No, always my own. Why those specific numbers? My voice cracked. They were my grandmother's. She played them for 40 years. She lived in apartment 4B in Queens. These numbers are her birthday, my mother's birthday, the day she immigrated to America. They're family. Geneva let that sit. Then, "Why did you tell your roommates you'd won?" "Because I was happy. I was excited. I thought they were my friends." The courtroom was silent. Mr. Hastings did his cross-examination. He tried to trip me up, finding contradictions. There weren't any. Then, Judge Morrison did something unexpected. She addressed Brianne and Whitney directly. "Did you contribute any money to the lottery tickets in question?" Brianne hesitated. "Not directly, but yes or no?" "No." "Did you have any written or verbal agreement prior to the lottery win that winnings would be shared? Whitney shifted in her seat. It was implied yes or no. No. Judge Morrison closed the file in front of her. The sound echoed like a gavel. This lawsuit is frivolous, not just without merit, actively frivolous. You've wasted this court's time, your former roommate's money, and your own credibility. Motion to dismiss, granted. Furthermore, I'm awarding attorney's fees and costs to the defendant. She looked at Mr. Hastings. Counsel, I suggest you be more selective about which cases you choose to pursue. Then she did something I'll never forget. She smiled. Not a polite smile, a genuinely amused smile. You tried to sue someone for winning the lottery because you lived in the same apartment. If that were the standard, every landlord in America would be a millionaire. She shook her head. Court is adjourned. The judgment came to $63,000. My attorney's fees, the forensic accountant, court costs, all of it. Brianne and Whitney would be paying that off for years. I never saw them again. I heard through mutual acquaintances that they'd both moved to different cities, different jobs, probably trying to escape the story that had made them infamous in our social circle. As for me, I bought a small house, paid off my nursing school loans, set up a scholarship fund at my grandmother's old elementary school in Queens. I still work at the hospital. I love my job. But now, without the crushing weight of debt, I also still play the lottery. Same numbers, same Friday ritual. But I bought the tickets alone. And when the clerk asks if I want to split a ticket with anyone, I just smile and say, no thanks, these numbers are mine. Because here's what I learned. Luck doesn't owe anyone anything. Neither do you. And when people show you who they really are, especially when money's involved, believe them the first time. That $1.7 million changed my life. But watching a judge laugh at my former roommates outside of court, that was priceless.